Reparations. Reparations. In the words of Congresswoman Sheila Jackson, when she spoke at the NAACP National Convention in July, she said, "I simply ask, why not, and why not now?" Reparations are powerful, not only economically, but reparations are powerful morally and spiritually. They carry an inherent mea culpa. They carry an inherent acknowledgement of a wrong that was done, a debt that was owed, and the willingness on the part of a nation and this state to pay it. It is impossible to imagine America's history without the inheritance of slavery. Black people don't need another apology. What we need is safer neighborhoods, better schools, a less punitive criminal justice system, better health care, and jobs. Black Americans are the only group that can singularly claim to have been slaves under the auspices of the United States government. What we are doing here today is not a symbolic action, but asking that legitimate legislation be created that should then be signed into law. That should be easy for us, for what we've done and what we've continued to do as a people. This country was built on the backs of black people, this state included. Many who ventured to this country after us now live off of what we fought, bled, and died for. Our votes, black votes, keep elected officials working. So again, this should not be problematic. The stain of slavery was not just inked in bloodshed, but in policies that have disadvantaged African Americans for generations. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell said back in June of this year that he opposes reparations, telling reporters, "I don't want reparations for something that happened 150 years ago. We've tried to deal with the original sin of slavery by passing the civil rights legislation and electing an African American president, Barack Obama." Well, I'll be damned. This country's history of slavery is a stigma and a stain that continues to be felt today. That McConnell wants to write that off as ignoring the impact and legacy of the country's history. How many McConnells will we have here in New Jersey? More specifically, the McConnells we vote for at each and every election. Those who cannot look, rather those we cannot look to for any sort of moral authority or guidance on how we should be addressing the issues of slavery and the impact today on income inequality, curtailing opportunity, and civil rights and voting rights. Folk running around this state, elected folks running around talking about they see things through the lens of civil rights. Well, the struggle that it's taken for us to get some of the easy things done that we've asked for is verification that some of those lenses need to be cleaned. In closing, the debate over reparations for black Americans began not long after the end of the Civil War and was long defined as financial compensation for ex-slaves and their descendants. Our now emboldened opponents of reparations often frame this issue as an unfair solution that places the blame or burden of the legacy of slavery on white Americans who were not alive at that time and were therefore not responsible. We, on the other hand, the Haygoods, the Boyers, the Dobsons, the Changs, the Fosters, the list goes on and on. We, on the other hand, will continue to point to racial disparities across New Jersey and American society as proof that while whites living today were not responsible for what came before, they have nonetheless benefited, just as black Americans have been experiencing the lingering effects of the slave system. Thank you all. God bless you.